So I bring it home, and my son is wondering why all this rattling is going on. And he has to go to school, and people are like, what's going on with your car? Only my mom was on top of it dancing.
We did Zumba on top of the car.
Well, hello, and welcome back to Be Life Changers. I am your host, Kathy Coates, and we are back here at JT Visuals without the eye, because check it out. It's more than meets the eye. So I'm so excited to be back here recording. Today is extra special. It's an extra special episode because my daughter is here with us from Houston, Texas. She's in Kansas City. So I'm so happy that she's here and going to be on the podcast. Let me introduce you to Genesis Moriah. She is an upcoming rap artist and model. And, of course, my beautiful daughter. Thanks for being on the podcast with me today.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to dive in deep and talk about some fun and uplifting things, and also, maybe some nitty-gritty things. I don't know.
Yes.
So first of all, we're going to start out with how it was like growing up with me. And so I want you to kind of share some personal memories from your childhood.
Life with 4 brothers, 3 sisters, and my dad and you is probably the wildest ride I'll ever take in my life. Good and bad, but it's been great, though. Having a mom that's very intelligent, active, fun-spirited, and just always on the move, that's been super fun, and it's brought a lot of good memories. A lot of just what I grew up doing with you was very much like going to work and being creative in whatever ways possible, a lot of events that we would have. And so it's actually been really, really fun, educating. But yeah, it's been good, obviously, because I'm still here.
You're still here.
I still love you.
You still love me. I'm glad you still love me. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, I was a young mom. And I kind of feel like, there was like a shift in between the kids. Mm-hmm. And it was like, there for a while I was so invested in just being a mom. Like, we talked about that, being a mom. And sometimes you feel like that's your title. Like, I am a mother. And, that's how you introduce yourself. What do you do? Well, I'm a mother and I'm a wife. And so there for the longest, that's what it was. And I love it. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world every moment. I'm so blessed to be able to have been home, to be with you guys all the time and raise you and be there to do the fun things that we did. I tried to always make everything an experience for you guys. But I remember that shift, when you guys were getting just a little bit older and I was starting to be a little more grounded in my purpose. I started, changing, because before I kind of was dealing with my self-worth in my 20s, like, I'm very young. Yeah. Am I good enough
Getting
to
married,
be where I'm at? Married,
having
kids. Yeah, exactly. Your brother Gabriel being deaf and autistic. Yeah. Having to deal with all these things that come along with life that teaches you become to know who you are. Because at first it's this, I'm a mom with kids, I've been married, and those were how I felt. And that was great. I love every piece of that. That is part of who I am. Yeah. But, as I got to be grounded in that, I started seeing gifts come out. Like, we would bake breads while your dad was in college and stuff so that you guys could have Christmas. And I go sell them at a see and sell shop. One year, I think we made 500 breads. It was crazy. And we had like banana bread and pumpkin bread and cinnamon rolls. It was always something. We were always doing something crazy along.
Trying to fundraise for something.
Yeah. The daycare, that was super fun.
Yeah, but missions trips.
Yeah, missions trips. Yeah, going to different things. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's where you got into singing. Mm-hmm. Because you started choir very young, at a young age, which you sang before you could really talk. I mean, that's obviously. But there's a shift of kind of not knowing who I was, being, not as confident in myself. And then that switch happened. We had moved to Wichita, Kansas, and you guys were getting a little bit older. And I was like, we did homeschool for a while, and that was great. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
But I was to the point that I knew that you guys needed more.
Yeah.
And so I kind of stepped out and kind of started knowing who I was and started going back into the workforce. I became, that personal trainer, group fitness instructor. And so I want you to kind of talk about, did you notice the shift in me at all?
Well, I know that I was definitely still a little younger, probably like 10, 11 when you started working at Just for Fitness. So Just Ladies Fitness. I'm like, that is not the name. You see me sat there and said that real slow. But yes, Just Ladies. So I don't know. Honestly, like, I don't think that at that age I was paying attention to those type of things. I wasn't old enough to really understand like emotions in life, and like my mom's actually going through some stuff. But I think though, honestly, like the difference between seeing you in the home with a lot of the challenges, all your kids, taking care of your husband. A lot of times he's coming home moody from work and things like that. And compared to you being out in your element at work, personal training and just being around other women and things like that, I definitely noticed like just you being a lot more comfortable and happier in that element too. Like that's where I felt like you were just free, to do what you wanted to do. You didn't have kids to take care of. You used to bring me to work every day. But, and I loved it though, because that was like my time out the house and away from all the boys and getting to spend mommy-daughter time.
Yeah,
So it was always fun. But yeah, I would say that's more what I noticed at that age for sure, like kind of in that transition. But you definitely did, looking back at it, I definitely can tell where that switch happened. So yeah.
Yeah. I ask that because I just always wonder, there's things that you've always think about asking your kids and you don't because you wonder if it's obvious or if it's settled, And I know you were pretty young, but, I enjoyed spending time with each one of you individually. So taking you to the gym. But as a mom looking in, I'll tell you what I saw. I saw that, because you see your older siblings saw me kind of not as confident in who I am. And as they grew, I realized they were a little more shy and laid back. I don't know if you've noticed that, and Malachi's a little more shy and laid back and won't talk as much,
Yeah.
And then each one of them got a little more bold. But when it comes to you and Hezekiah, your younger brother, you guys are the ones that doesn't seem like anything scares you at all. Like, they face the world. Like, you guys would be out there if we had, you guys want to go to camp for church or something. And, of course, having 8 kids, you didn't just always have the whole entire fee because we know that, those camps can be pretty pricey sometimes.
They were. Yeah.
So we always had you guys invest. Sometimes we may have had all the money, but we always felt like if you had a piece in it, then you would see how the world really rolls,
Yeah.
And so you guys would hustle. You would get little clipboards and you'd have the whole, I didn't even guide it. You guys would have the whole thing written out like your script. And it was just crazy. You guys would go up to people's houses. She'd come in and go, "Mom, I have $150. Can we go now?" And I'm like, "What do you say?" I said, "If you would have all of it, then you
half
could go
half
of it." So I seen you guys churn just a little bit more. So I always in my head figured it was because I was a little more confident in who I was.
Yeah.
And so, and then of course you guys coming to work with me, selling those memberships. I used to remember them taking you up to the front and literally have you teach the class at 8. You were 8 when we first started going there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just don't even, my age, I don't have no time of anymore.
I don't know what age. You were 8.
I don't know what age I was.
I do remember that because you were under 10, because I always remember them saying, if an 8-year-old can know this script, you guys could too. So.
Yeah, because obviously that's kind of like the sales world a little bit at the tanning salon for people who may not know that side of things. When you go into a tanning salon, a lot of times they want you to try to sign up for a membership and then get products and things like that. And so I used to just take in all that game. I just soak it all in. That's all I was around. I'm seeing people pitch scripts and sell products, and yeah, definitely picked up some gems from that. Now I'm in the sales industry.
You're like, now you're in the sales industry. Yeah, I was going to ask if you could describe a defining moment from childhood that shaped you, what would be one defining moment? Like, what's one thing that sticks out to you?
Well, really just speaking on all of this, like that, my childhood being able to come to the gym with you, and everybody puts their kids in the child kid area. But because my mom was the personal trainer there, I get to run around and I'm behind the front desk and I'm everywhere. And so it actually allowed me to be around like adults at a young age. But it's like, obviously there's people who are working and, not crazy stuff. But it really like impacted me and just the educational piece of things I was able to pick up on and see how adults were functioning and what they were doing, and kind of the hustle piece of side of things too, like seeing you go from taking care of all the kids and cooking and making sure everything's ready to go, and then we got to go to work. And so then we're hopping in the car and we're headed off to Just Ladies, and we're there till 10 p.m. And so yeah, like I feel like that definitely has impacted me in my grind and my hustle, and the way that, like, even though it may seem like there's so much going on and I have to handle all these things, it's kind of just natural to me because that's all we did. So that's helped me a lot, just being able to do multiple things, be an entrepreneur, want to be an entrepreneur, want to do things with my life. So I feel like all of that just kind of set the tone for where I'm at now, and being able to juggle and handle a lot of things. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know when I sat down and I'd ask you to be on the show, I thought, what points did I really want, because, we're talking about sharing real stories here, real purpose, and how it made a real change. And I thought, I want to really showcase and kind of show what you're doing here in Kansas City as well as in Houston. But I thought, well, let's go back a little ways, because this is newer episodes of the podcast, so people can get to know me just a little bit more. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool that I could ask you to come and kind of showcase you at the same time. Yeah. But there's some, as a parent, there's questions you just don't sit down on the couch and talk about, like, hey, what did you learn? Or did you, things that you just don't think about. So when I was thinking about what we could talk about on the podcast, I was like, you know what? I think it's just neat to be able to ask each other some questions that maybe we probably just don't naturally talk about. Yeah, exactly. But, might be interesting.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah. Well, I do have a question for you as well around just kind of that time frame, because I know that we were homeschooled for several years at that point. And so what was it like having to juggle all of that and be a teacher, a mom,
wear all
fitness
the
instructor, every hat possible?
Well,
what was that like?
It was interesting. It was a growth part. I've always had passion in everything that I do, and I always want to give the very best, like be the best wife, best mom, best, And so, but it was hard because I had to learn that making mistakes was okay. And I also had to learn that I can't do everything. Yeah. To learn to designate things like that. You guys thought, okay, she's making me do this, but it's because really you were being a help. Yeah. And being able to designate those things. But, it's a time in life that like you were talking about grit, you have to figure it out. And I wouldn't be who I am today or be able to run, Kathy Coates events at all, because events are monsters. I'm just going to tell you that now. You have to be able to think on the whim. Like if something happens, you have to be able to take care of it. Well, raising you guys taught me that. I mean, I literally had to take care of everything. Yeah. And so it's like you have to, I always say, when I'm speaking to other women who stay home, so I'm speaking to you now too, if you are a mom who gets the pleasure of being home, you have the number one job, the toughest job there is out there. Don't let anyone ever tell you any differently. You are amazing. That's all I have to say, because I've been there. I've done that. I know how it is. Like it is. And it's something that you can do. But you will, I always say the biggest PhD you can get is running a household.
A mother.
You are the CEO, that, you are the financial advisor. You're doing it all. Like, because at that point in time, your father was going back to school. And so I literally did, the finances to the home, everything to keep the home going so he could, achieve his goals.
Yeah.
And so, there were times, I'm not going to lie, I was in the floor kicking and screaming. I'm sure you've probably seen it because I was probably very cranky at times. But again, it's just a challenge that you have to go through. And I think that's important in life, especially in business. You're going to have a lot of obstacles come your way.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of trials. Thinking, like if the kids get in trouble at school, you're like, okay, now I gotta go down and deal with that. And, and you forgot something on the oven and it burnt by the time you got home. And then you have to redo supper. And it's just having to think all on a whim, and sometimes you feel like you want to give up, but you can't.
Yeah.
And so I think those are real important lessons, and that, like I said, I wouldn't be able to do what I do today if I wouldn't have went through all of that.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And I think even my outlook too, being younger and just your daughter, like it made me realize, especially looking back to that, your mother is someone that is figuring life out for the first time too. It's not like you've had like multiple opportunities to come back to this. So it's like, now, I don't think I was very easy on you back then. But
really? No.
but now I'm like, wow, like my mom was she was just me. She was just a young girl trying to figure it out, and she had kids, and like everything that happens is a part of the lesson, a part of life, and the growth that comes through it. And so now, entering adulthood, I'm 25 now, so I'm still young, but you had kids at my age.
Yes, and I did. I almost had 3.
Yeah, so I look at myself now and I'm like, dang, what if I had 2-3 kids right now? I would have to figure this out. So it makes you have a bigger appreciation, honestly. I do. And it's like, wow, like having to juggle all of that and still trying to pursue your dreams as, a girl, a young girl who still wants to have her own life. Right. That's big. And so that's a big impact to me too now, looking at life. I'm very appreciative of where I am and just so many more things too. So It's cool.
And I think that goes both ways because, back then you're just fighting the hustle, and you're not realizing that it's okay. You don't have a manual. It's being written at that very moment.
Yes.
Like you have no idea. And so to be light on yourself. But now that I look back at it, seeing that I was just thinking, it's no big deal. Like I had these kids. I loved it. It was fun.
Yeah.
And but now that you guys are the age I was, I even look at it in a different way. Like, I really was taking care of all of that
at 24.
At 23, like, whoa. Like, it just, to me, but it also helps me because I remember what I was thinking at that age, what I was going through, like wrestling with who I am, not being very confident in my steps. Even though life is coming your way, it doesn't matter. I mean, one thing is coming to another. You have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a mom or if you're, out there hustling to be an artist like you, or if someone is just finishing college. It doesn't matter. I mean, trials come your way and you have to go through it. But I have another appreciation for you going through it now because now I get to sit on the backside and think, wow, that's why I felt like I felt. That's why I felt overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That's why I thought I couldn't do it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, exactly. And that kind of ties me into the question, like even now, like as a mom, like what do you feel like you're most afraid of in a way?
Oh, as a mom, what I'm most afraid of?
Whether it's for yourself or for your kids.
Wow. It's those mistakes you do make. Does it affect your kids? Does it hurt your kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
how are they
real.
how are they gonna continue through life?
Oh yeah,
through
definitely.
those, yeah.
Definitely.
No,
Yeah. So I think that's like the biggest fear of all of us is that, because I think people always say, and I've said this before, that a lot of times we think, the 2 and 3-year-olds are the hardest. And they're like, those middle school kids are the hardest. Like, that's the hardest part is middle school. And others are, they have all these different ages. And I say, the hardest stage is when you are headed out to college or at the end of
the let go.
Because you have to let go and watch. And hope that you've learned something by my mistakes.
Yeah.
And then see you make mistakes and you can't fix it.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest part as a parent, I would say. That's the hardest part as a parent.
No, absolutely.
So that would be what I'm most fearful of is that, and a lot of times, giving you the freedom and letting go. Because that's hard. That's something you learn too.
Yeah, no, for real. Exactly. No, I love that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And I mean, through the process too of, trying to run a business, because at some point you started the events. And that's when KC Women's Events kind of started transitioning through Just Ladies Fitness.
Right.
You threw events. I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm always there.
She was with me. I mean, like when we were back in the gym throwing the ladies'
that's
nights out.
Yeah, you started there,
with
right?
Michelle. Yeah, you remember Michelle being there.
Yeah.
And you remember when I ruined your brother's car? Should we talk about that story?
What?
Yeah, no, really.
Yes.
Yeah, it is like, okay, so like my son had a car and he put like a sound system in it. The neighbor had given him these subwoofers and he was paying him for them. And he got this, of course, you know how you got the first junker car, right?
It's your car.
It's your car, right? And so it had these big subwoofers and we were putting on a ladies' night out. It was Glow Zumba. So I had the whole Zumba team out there. You were out there with us. No, you. No wonder you. Oh my goodness, that's probably why you're wild.
I'm the crazy child.
I'm sorry I made you wild. But anyhow, we had it out in the front parking lot because we didn't have a lot of people and traffic coming through. So we get out there and start doing Zumba on the corner and we have it like cranked up. And in the whole, like, everything's shaking. Like, and I mean, you could hear it probably a block away.
It was loud.
And we were all doing Zumba on the side of the street. And I decided to jump up on top of the car and do Zumba. I mean, yes, I'm not as big as I was now, okay? I was small. I look like her. But anyhow, so anyway, but what I didn't realize is it doesn't matter if you're light or heavy, you like put like dents in it, I guess. So I bring it home and my son is wondering why all this rattling is going on. And he has to go to school and people are like, what's going on with your car? Only my mom was on top of it dancing.
We did Zumba on top of the car.
So those are some, those are some crazy moments.
Yeah, no, a lot transpired back then. That's so funny.
That's a funny one. I had to tell that one. That was funny. Like, I don't know why that one stuck out, but
yeah, that's one thing about you is, hey, we were having fun. We were gonna make it happen, even if nobody showed up. Y'all are gonna find a way to come.
But yeah, you were in those events, and even when we came to Kansas City, from being in Atlanta. We moved to Atlanta for a while, which that's kind of where your roots started, and that's where I'm going to kind of turn it over to you. But, that's where, your roots started, and you come back here, and, you always have hustled and helped me keep it going, even in the midst of you switching with your career. And so,
which I've had several switches, and you've definitely always been there every step of the way. But yeah, going from graduated high school early, and then I went straight to cosmetology school. I said, forget college, because listen, we're going to get straight to the hustle.
Yes,
all I knew is I wanted business on business, cause just like my mama. That's all I knew. So, I literally went to cosmetology school, and you were a big help with that. And I would always do your hair. She would always come, and I'm doing her hair still to this day.
Yeah. Yep.
All the way till now. I went to model in music, and you actually had me modeling at like 6 years old.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was so fun. And
Yeah.
those were some fun times. She looked like I'm serious. I should have brought a picture is what I should have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, she looked like the little Gap child. Remember the one with the little hair that stuck out? And so that's what we were
curly.
going for was the Gap commercials. And I had a friend who was a photographer, so she did some professional photos of her. So she's always been a diva queen.
The diva.
The one that's in front of the camera.
The
That's
spoiled
her.
child,
You know,
yes.
it's okay. But
Yes.
she was my only daughter. Well, my only daughter by that I birthed. I birthed 3 of my bonus girls on my knees, and you're the only one I've had from very young, like the birth all the way up.
Yes, I'm
the
the only
others
one
I got when they were older.
that came out of you.
Yeah. So all the way, yeah. So and she is my child. It's like looking in the mirror. I said that's The others, it's not like looking at the mirror, but you are.
But and I spent the most time with you. I feel like, especially around the years that we were getting homeschooled, because I could leave and take my schoolwork with me, with you. So that was definitely very much my hustle, my grind, my motivation, my purpose, and me never like giving up. It definitely came from you, because I've watched you go through some crazy stuff and juggle the most, and I don't know how you did it, but
well, you do a fine job yourself. You do a fine job yourself. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you, because I don't think I'd be here in the way I am without you. So yeah.
Well, and vice versa. I don't think kids understand that we wouldn't be where we're at without you.
Yeah.
And I don't think we tell you that enough.
No, that's sweet.
We don't. We don't tell you that enough. We don't tell you.
My heart.
We don't tell you enough that we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Because, all those experiences, good and bad.
Yes.
I think bad experiences makes people closer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Challenging times, because that's when you really got to stick together. And, we've had moments where we've had to, up and go somewhere else for a couple days, couple weeks through, family issues. And those moments is where we came together. I remember that one picture where we're all standing in Auntie's house and we're in a little huddle, me and my siblings and my mom, and we're hugging it out, praying. Yeah. And I still love that picture, but it just shows like how in those challenging times, like we stick together and
as a family,
we still stay strong.
And we come back and we make it work.
Yes.
And everybody comes back together and we make it work. And, I think prayer being the having God number one
first,
God first. That's how it works.
And that's what I think too. Like the way you guys instilled our faith, and y'all always kept us in church, even when there might have been disputes in our home. We still made sure that we would go together as a family to church, and we kept God in the middle of that. Or we'd even do sermons at the house. I remember Dad would set things up.
Oh, yeah.
We're reading the Bible all together. But I feel like that really kept the foundation together. And so now as an adult, where I've kept God first in my life, I definitely noticed the difference,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because my years without him,
right,
they're ugly.
Yeah, well, we've all had a few of those years where we decided we thought we could do it on our own.
Do it on our own, and I realized real quick.
Yeah, I did too.
I
did too. I was like, nope, got to be right back. Well, let me come back to my comfort zone.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah. But that is true. That is true. Yeah, you're bringing out those. Your dad is very gifted at writing. His big old.
I'm
book
a preacher's kid.
Yeah, I know that's right. Oh,
yeah, and it's good times. But I know that there are times that I'm sure you definitely wanted to give up and things. So, but I know we're your motivation, and you're also just dedicated.
Oh yeah,
to the craft.
And definitely dedicated. 100 to the end. I'm your biggest fan. Always have your back. Always. No matter what. No matter what.
Yeah.
So when do you think, I kind of know when it all started, but when did you start really realizing that you had a love for not only singing music, but creating and writing music? Because you are a very talented, gifted writer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Honestly, like kind of my path with it, obviously choir and church, and you guys had us in a lot of those kind of the plays and things like that. And so in Wichita is where I feel like I did the singing, and I got into that as far as those plays where I started to get out of my shell and I wasn't as nervous anymore. And I would start kind of exploring that. And then when we went to Georgia, then I definitely was breaking out of my shell and I started doing more like spoken word and poetry, and getting into those things. And obviously in Atlanta, it's like the home of hip hop. It's where the rap game really started. So all I really got to know and introduce myself to was hip hop. And I realized like, okay, like I could take like you know, it's all about rhyming and being able to flow on a beat. So it's like, okay, if I can write spoken word and I can write poetry, I know how to rhyme.
There you go.
And then I sing and everybody's telling me I have a good voice. So I started playing beats and, you know, just having fun with it. Next thing you know, like everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're a rapper.
I know. Like, I remember you singing. You have a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
And I just remember the day, you know, because, of course, you know, your brothers played around with
Yes,
it. And
yes.
so I've always heard that. But when I heard you, I was like,
Yeah.
where did that come from? Like, I was
Yeah.
like, wow, she
Yeah.
really is talented at this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that is super cool.
It's an obvious God gift because
Yes, definitely.
it's not that my brothers aren't musically inclined or talented. My dad definitely, you know, well, both you guys, but I know Dad loves music, bass guitar, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so even with that love for music around me, that definitely instilled that love of music for me too. But
Right.
yeah,
Definitely.
like just between my talent in music, between like everyone else, it was like clearly like, this isn't just everybody in the family's doing it. This is like your gift. So
Yeah, like it really has. And it's bloomed.
Yeah.
It's bloomed a
Yeah.
lot too and grew, you know.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
think you went with those challenges and hustles. You've done a really good job.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I know coming back to Kansas City, you got to come on the spotlight. That's pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So every time I'm in Kansas City, I'm in motion. Like I have a lot of connections out here. I do love the music scene out here. There's so many talented artists. And so, yeah, the Spotlight actually reached out to me. It's a new platform here in Kansas City. And someone who runs it, one of the owners, co-owners, I'm not quite sure how to list him there, but he actually is an artist that I used to work with, and we have a good relationship like that. So when he's seen that I was in town, he's like, come through, perform. You know, they do live performances on the platform. So I was like, okay, bet, I'm on the way.
Right.
I actually was like, you know what? I haven't recorded music because I kind of took a little hiatus from mental health.
Right.
Took a little break, step back from that.
Okay.
And then when I came, you know, now I'm coming back to music and everything and my businesses. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go to the studio and just record something completely new. I wrote a whole song the day before.
Oh, it's anointed as that.
Okay.
It was. Yes, it was.
Yes. One thing I can do is write a song and we can write it quick and we're going to get it done. And so, boom, I went and wrote a whole new song. Plus, I feel like God's really just been calling me to be more positive in my music and change kind of the direction of my music. I used to be more of like a industry rat in a way where it was just molding me into the industry image. And so that was when I was signed to my label. So
Right.
now that I'm back independent, it's like I really have full creative control again.
Right, right.
And that's where I'm always in my prime.
I
Is
know
when
that's
I'm the one making the plays here.
Right.
So yeah, you know, and so this was actually my first song, Spotlight, that one, I don't cuss in. Two,
Make a mama proud.
okay, hello, I'm back. The Lord said, bring her, come here.
That's okay.
So
All
yeah.
them prayers, y'all. They
Okay,
work.
they work. They do. He came and got me. But yeah, one, I'm not that. And two, it's just like what I want, like my music to be. It's way more inspiring and positive, and it's bringing like motivation. And so yeah, like I really love the song. Everybody loves it so far. It's getting good feedback. We're at like 7,000 views on the video right now, so it's just going crazy.
It is. I know. But you know, like I said, I told you the day you played it for me. You know, Dad was jamming. He always does, and I sit kind of still. And I don't think everybody understands. I jam the second time around. The first time I soak it in. I like to close my eyes and soak the song in.
Yeah.
And I could tell you when I said I felt the anointing on that song, I felt the anointing on that song.
Okay.
I was like, yeah. So hello.
Yeah, you got your little favorite part in the
my
song.
little favorite part. Hello. You don't really know me.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is a lot of stuff that I put in my music is my emotions, and they're my raw emotions or things I'm going through. And I have a lot of people right now that I've, turned their back on me. I've had friends I thought were my friends that have literally stabbed me in the back, and just so many things. But God is removing people who aren't meant for the next level in my life, and that's perfectly fine with me. But in my music, I definitely express that a lot, and there's a lot of talk going on. There's a lot of people that want to talk and spread rumors and say things about me so that part I made sure that you heard it for a reason, because it's like, hello, you don't really know me.
Yeah.
Okay? So, yeah, because you don't.
Yeah.
You guys don't really know me. And so, especially if you're sitting there,
right.
Spreading information along, like,
yeah.
you're
and
just
as your mother,
talking crazy.
When you hit your real calling, your true purpose, the earth gonna shake.
Okay.
It is. Like,
it is.
You're gonna find out who your true friends are, your ride or dies.
Yeah.
And you're gonna find out who's jealous.
Yeah.
You're going to find out who's against you, and it don't matter. That's when you remind Satan, hello, you don't really know me.
Okay.
Like,
Okay,
so, yeah,
we stepping
so
on
true.
all of that. We're stepping on
Well,
all
I
that.
see we're going to have to do a part 2 of this, because I really
There's so
wanted
much
to get
to talk
more
about.
into you, but I thought it would be fun to go back when you were a child. So we're going to do a part 2, y'all.
Yeah.
We're going to do a part 2, and we're going to also put the link down and below. And you'll be able to see it in the bio.
Yeah. Being able to access the video and the song.
So that everybody can
access
the video and see it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Little shout out. Well, thanks for having me. It's been great. I've enjoyed it.
And what do you think of JT Visuals?
Oh my, this is a great place. And honestly, everything is here to work with and provided, so that makes it so much easier.
Yes, it is.
Man, we've been on the other side of things trying to do it all ourselves. I don't want them problems. Come to JT Visuals.
Definitely. It's nice to be able to walk in and walk out.
And everything is done for you.
And it looks excellent.
Yes. This is great. I love your, this is your logo, right?
Yes,
I love it. It's
we
great.
all kind of played a part in it. Yeah. JT Visual actually really helped. They helped.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Shout out to Stacy at,
that's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we all come together and did it. I think it looks great. But like you always have to remember JT Visuals.
With no eye.
The eye, because they are definitely more than meets the eye. So whether you're raising a child or building a dream or both, remember, real change starts with real stories. We'll see you next time on Be Life Changers.